Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Almighty Sports Plus. Or yes, the time has finally come. Yes, अभी तक finals नहीं है, but semi-finals are big enough. और I know that भाई इतना सारा शोर शराबा नहीं हो रहा है जितना मैं anticipate कर रहा था. तो हम हमारा तो बनता है because we are Almighty Sports Plus. It's a fan channel for all to see. I think we always say. एंड यस न्यूजीलैंड पाकिस्तान का है बट थोड़ा बहुत इंडिया इंग्लैंड भी इतना दूर नहीं है विल बी डिस्कसिंग बट अ टीम ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट अभी के लिए टू बी फेयर टू ऑल द सुपर 12 टीम्स वही हम ऑफलाइन बात कर रहे थे एबल से बाय द वे एबल वेलकम बैक टू द स्ट्रीम ब्रदर हाउ आर यू लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू दिस वी हैव बीन बिल्डिंग अप भाई एक साल से वी हैव बीन बिल्डिंग अप फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर टाइम द फाइनल्स जहां पर स्पेशली एज एन इंडियन फैन all of us we get into we know that where we get into right because
Yeah, yeah,
semi-finals are scary but not only India even Pakistan because last year they were there as a losing semi-finalist and New Zealand went
yeah,
to finals.
yeah. I mean, if you, firstly, a huge pleasure to be over here once again. Last time when we did speak, we did tell that we'll be back before the semifinals. So I'm glad that I'm back once again to come to you for this time. But yeah, talking about that, if you look from the last semifinal, all the teams are there except Australia. And the team which has replaced Australia is India. So it's almost a similar semi-final lineup like last time around. And surprisingly, two teams who many of them did not predict to make it to the semi-final really are there New Zealand and Pakistan. They're going to be against each other in the first semi-final tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about it. But as an Indian fan, since last, I think it's almost been a year, right? November 8th last year was when India played their last match of the T20 World Cup. I remember that clearly because that
Wow.
was Virat Kohli's last match as T20 captain as well. So India had to wait 1 year for this day for India to make it to the knockouts. The preparation
Trust
had
me, bro. The moment you said that, it gave me goosebumps. I don't know, सब लोग को लग रहा है भाई. That is what that feel, no, as in the feel. Finally, the feel that okay, fine, we are in a semi-finals again. It's actually realizing now. Until the time comes, we don't really realize it. And I think
yeah.
again, Virat Kohli, he has given us goosebumps in the entire tournament. इसलिए हम करेंगे भाई. We'll be discussing which is the best kind of all the performers the entire tournament में भी. लेकिन starting with New Zealand, Pakistan, बहुत ही strangely, I know that we try to cover as much content as possible, but I just realized for whatever reason, this particular time, भाई सब लोग chat में भी बता दीजिए भाई न्यूजीलैंड फैंस नहीं कि कोई in this tournament, in this T20 tournament, we have done previews, reviews, watch alongs for literally every team at least एक बार, ठीक है? न्यूजीलैंड का एक बार भी नहीं किया. I am like so surprised जब मैं बना रहा था ना thumbnail, I just realized, oh my god, didn't I actually? We actually didn't cover New Zealand for whatever reason, but that's what it is. Uh, by the way, yes, यहाँ पर talking about New Zealand, Putin ने बताया यार they have been there in the semis in the finals of almost every tournament that we're talking about more
Mm,
recently. So I think
yeah.
kudos to them. Yeah, again with the population they have, the kind of resources they have versus some other countries. I think again New Zealand proving it yet
Yeah.
again that they are there a force to be reckoned with. Again भाई सब लोग तो हम आगे बढ़ने से पहले सब लोग लाइक ठोक दीजिए सब लोग हो सके तो शेयर भी करिए बिकॉज ज्यादा लोग आएंगे मजा आएगा. I know that there are Pakistani subscribers और यहाँ ये वाला stream especially. और by the way, people, yes, I also wanted to get Pakistani fans here. I did ask Sadiq Bhai and Co, but again, I think they're busy, so hopefully they will be joining later on. But let's see. अभी के लिए यार, of course, it's an Indian perspective we'll get. इसलिए मैं चाहता हूँ कि सब लोग आ जाए भाई, so that we have a lot of Pakistani perspective in the chat as well. Hello to Kunal as well. लेकिन न्यूजीलैंड का मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगा यहाँ पर व्हाट हैज बीन द रन. इसलिए मैं न्यूजीलैंड का थोड़ा स्पेशल मेंशन करना चाहता हूँ बिकॉज फॉर वट एवर रीजन वी डिड नॉट कवर देम राइट अगेन.
Mm,
थैंक यू न्यूजीलैंड क्रिकेट फॉर शेयरिंग दिस विद अस. लेकिन हाँ, versus Australia, now that game, Abel, everyone knew that it is going to be a close group, that group one in Super 12,
yeah.
right? But the
Yeah.
fact that again Australia they won, and I think that kickstart. And remember, the record in Australia in recent times wasn't good, and people forget that. Yes,
Mm,
in terms of T20s, they have not got a good record at all. So
yeah.
them kind of beating that, and getting to the next level, probably you would say has been the main reason why they've got that confidence. Again, Williamson wasn't really there before the tournament, but now
Yeah.
the tournament is there. As in, what do you think was the turning point for them? Because I, for whatever reason, did not count New Zealand as the absolute favorite this time, but I've
True.
been proven wrong.
If you remember the chat we had on 21st of October, a day before New Zealand's first game against Australia, we all were very clear, very vocal about how New Zealand's record in Australia is very bad, how they were balled out for 98 against South Africa in a warm-up game. So all these things were in our mind when we put Australia and England to be the favorites to make out of Group 1. And New Zealand, the thing with New Zealand is always, I don't think they punch above the weight. It's a wrong term to be using for a team they are. They play just good cricket. They play as a
Yeah.
team. When we look into a New Zealand team, in IC tournaments, you don't find individual match winners, but then they come together to actually win over any opposition they're presented against. That game against Australia was a clear example of how tactically prepared they were. It was a game of tactics, and let me tell you how well they started off. They were very clear on how Finn Allen is gonna disrupt Hazelwood's length. He went after Hazelwood. He went after Mitchell Stark. He set the tone. That knock from Finn Allen, if New Zealand go on to win the World Cup, that knock of Finn Allen for me will be one of the best knocks. I know it was just a 40 odd knock, but then that gave New Zealand that confidence and belief that they can take on Australia. But from there on, they never had to look behind. And that victory margin, if you look at 89 runs victory margin, is what ultimately put Australia out of the World Cup. And that's what made New Zealand to qualify into the semi-final as well. So that game has to be on top of it. But then that Sri Lanka game you see of 65 runs which they have won, they're 15 for 3, and you have to say that
Mhm.
Sri Lankan fielders also helped them to drop Glenn Phillips' catch a couple of times, and he went on to score 100. But on a wicket which was turning, I always expect Sri Lanka to come on top for that game, because 15 for 3, any team would have said Sri Lanka in the game. But from there to recover, score 160 odd, and to ball out Sri Lanka for just close to 102, 103, that was just brilliant from them. The English game is one thing which they'll be slightly worried about, but then let's look at those two wins, right? Both happened in Sydney. And tomorrow, where are they playing? They're playing in Sydney once again.
Sydney.
They love
Yeah.
the conditions there in Sydney. They believe that they're building a fortress. I was, as an Indian fan, I was very scared. I was really hoping we don't come up against this New Zealand team in Sydney, because I knew they
Yeah.
were
We
building a
spoke about it.
Yes. And I knew they were building a fortress over there, and they would be a tough opposition to beat, because they've already played 2 games and they were very used to those conditions, and their ballers were really thriving on those conditions as well. So that's one of the reasons why the kind of slower kind of surfaces really help New Zealand there. And tomorrow is a fresh pitch, which is going to be awkward for that semi final. So let's see how they go about it.
या एब्सोल्युटली बाय द वे अभिषेक पुदिन अक्षत विशाल संजीव भाई सब लोग को कुणाल मैंने कोई मिस कर दिया नाम तो सॉरी अभिनव भी भाई सब लोग अगेन डू लाइक दिस टीम शेयर इट एज वेल इफ पॉसिबल लेट्स हैव मोर पीपल इन यस इंडियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू डेफिनेटली होगा अभिषेक आई थिंक पुदिन भी आप पूछ रहे विल कम टू दैट भाई कल डिटेल में हम करेंगे मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली इंडिया इंग्लैंड लेकिन आज we'll touch upon that along with picking the team of the tournament obviously by default इंडिया तो आनी ही वहां पर लेकिन कॉन्फिडेंस यार ऑनेस्टली यार यहाँ पर है again against popular opinion I actually for me Sydney came second. For me the first thing was that I wanted to play New Zealand and simply put, and the reason is because मुझे लग रहा है Abel, that England for whatever reason hasn't really turned up in the tournament. They have just about won things in my opinion, and that is what I'm scared about. And New Zealand, while you can also say to some extent, like you said, that could have been the changing factor in a couple of games, and it could have gone either way. But that match against Australia, I thought that they had probably the best game itself, right? And so
Mhm.
that's where I would say that New Zealand have had the best performance. Again, Pakistan, and correct me if I'm wrong, people. जहां तक मुझे याद है, New Zealand did play was it a quadrangular series or a triangular series just before the
Triangular
World Cup?
series
Triangular series, right? And in
against
that
Pakistan
they
and
did not
Bangladesh.
reach the finals, correct?
They played the final. They lost to Pakistan in the
They
final.
lost to Pakistan. Okay, so basically speaking, there is recent history, and of course, New Zealand, Pakistan actually over the years have played a lot.
Yeah.
They played a lot over the years, so there is some kind of as in weird rivalry also, right? Abel, would you say that?
Yeah, there is, especially last year when New Zealand team traveled to Pakistan and they left midway because of security breaches. There was a small rivalry which was brewing, and they were super motivated to take on New Zealand in the T20 World Cup last year because of all these tensions. It was not cricketing reasons; it was all political reasons why they want to take them on, and that's been the case with Pakistan. They've got a lot of rivalries building up near to them. They've had a rivalry with Afghanistan in the recent past. They've got a rivalry against Zimbabwe now because of Mr. Bean. So a lot of these rivalries against Pakistan is a common factor. But jokes apart, to be honest, New Zealand team in bilaterals and New Zealand team in World Cups are two different things. In
Yeah,
World Cups, they really turn up to World Cup like they're very determined, and they do a lot of basics right. We often don't give credit for that. We often say, okay, it's not the most flamboyant team out there, right? But then they do this basics so right, especially when it comes to their fielding. They don't give away those catches. The only time they misfielded, they went on to lose the match against England. I remember, I think it was Darren Mitchell who dropped a dolly of Joss Butler, which gave England the momentum. The only day they misfielded, that's when New Zealand went on to lose the match, and that's something which you don't see from New Zealand team. And when it comes to their batting, it's not one single star. It's combination of 3 or 4 players chipping in to score those runs. If you look at the Australian game, there was a Devon Conway, there was a Neesham towards the end, and there was of course Finn Allen as well. And in the last game, Kane Williamson coming into form is a massive news for them, and he was looking very good against Ireland. So, and
Mhm.
moreover than that, their spin duo of Isuri and Sandner, they've been top notch when it comes to bowling and keeping one end, keeping the ends very tight, not leaking runs in the middle overs. So that's really helped this team to come this far.
Fair enough, fair enough. Acha, by the way, before going ahead about Pakistan, New Zealand, which we'll obviously be discussing, or we'll be picking the best 11 of the tournament with all you guys help as well. यहाँ पर quick shout out definitely to Virat Kohli. यार Virat Kohli got the October Player of the Month for ICC, absolutely. And again, Pakistani cricketer has got the female women's cricketer of the month, I believe. So kudos to them as well. Pakistan, it was a definitely shot in the arm. But I think there have been 3 inductees into the ICC Hall of Fame today, and that's
Yeah.
great. Again, there also there is a Pakistani. So I don't know, is the timing of what Abdul Qadir? I think the legendary Alex Spinner is put in along with Shunarayan Chandrapal, and I think women's cricketer. Let me actually just check the name before I get it wrong.
I
And
think it's
people told me Charlotte Edwards, I guess. Yeah.
Charlotte
So
Edwards, yeah.
exactly. So I think that's I don't know. For me, these things generally don't matter, but the fact is about the timing. To some extent, it kind of inspires the Pakistan team with 2 of them kind of getting awards, or rather being named in the same kind of week. So that's important. But संजीव का कमेंट लेते हैं यहाँ पर पाकिस्तान को ओपनिंग पेयर का चेंज होने वाला है सुनने में आया न्यूज बाबर कमिंग डाउन टू नंबर 3 और 4 I don't know man मतलब I know it hasn't worked but मतलब would you say that there is a better solution?
Honestly speaking, they should have done this way before the World Cup. Babar batting at number 3. Not maybe Babar, Rizwan batting
But
at
who
number 3.
Shan Masood who opens then?
No, I think they want to open with Mohammad
That's
Aris. He's a possible
yeah, but
candidate.
Mohammad Aris has worked brilliantly in middle order. I thought
He
he's the
has worked.
guy who's actually changed the course of Pakistan's batting. I would say in the
Yeah,
tournament, no?
yeah, they have. And what's happening? I don't know if this news is true, and I really don't see that happening. To be honest, if it happens, it's going to be a huge surprise. And I, it can be a double-edged sword. For what's happening with Pakistan is even in the game against Bangladesh, they were chasing just 128. They were what 55 in 10 overs, and Babar was striking at less than 100. And for him, with the kind of form he's in right now, if he's going to go down the order, he does not have the power game. Let's be honest. He might have got all the stats to back. He's a very good T20 player, but then his impact is very, very minimal. He's not a Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli from 15 to 20 overs is a beast. He can strike at 200, at a strike rate of 200. But Babar Azam do not have that game. Babar Azam can go at maximum of 140. That could be his range, or 150 on the best of days. But other than that, when we talk about Babar Azam, the best what you get from Babar Azam is a very mediocre, I would like to use the word mediocre run rate or mediocre strike rate of 125 to 130 on a good day where he scores 50 off of 38 balls, 50 of 35 balls alongside Rizwan. And that also him opening the batting where he can use the power play, where he can get set, then take on the spin. But when you're bringing him at number 4, number 3, it's really not making use of him. In T20, it's so important to use your resources well. I think using Mohammad Aris in the middle can be a blessing in disguise also, because him coming in the middle overs really helped this team. What has happened to this Pakistan team is that they did not have an enforcer at number 3, number 4 who can take the game on, like a Surya Kumar Yadav or maybe like a Liam Livingston. Now that with Mohammad Aris coming into the team, he's been very impressive. He's not played the most consistent knocks,
Yeah,
and he's got some glaring weakness. So what I'm really afraid is that New Zealand team picks up weakness in a glimmer. They can really pick up the weakness and they'll exploit it. To be honest, in the World Cups, or if I've ever followed cricket for the longest period of time, if there's ever been a team who's been so tactically astute, that's New Zealand cricket team. They pick up
of
weakness.
course.
They know which bowler to attack when they come to bat. They're a very good team to watch when it
And the
comes to
best
that.
use of conditions, I feel that again it will be unfair to say after reaching so many semi-finals and finals कि यार they kind of punch above the waist. No, as Abel said it absolutely right. बहुत ही बढ़िया बोला, because for me New Zealand हमेशा ऐसा है ना where they make use of every resource they have. So I think
Yeah.
it's not about punching above the waist. It's about other teams not doing enough, especially India. I have to point out यहाँ पर, as much as we are great, we are in semis and we probably have more talent, we have more resources, but do we make the best use of it? No, New Zealand do that, and that's the difference between them and us. Again, I would love to actually I think I'll take any team. I don't know, मतलब सब लोग chat पे बोलिए यार, मतलब again I'm being kind of jumping the gun यहाँ पर, assuming, let's hypothetically think that if India beat England again, which is very tough, and we'll come to that later on. लेकिन अगर वो है, which team would you like to face in the final, Abel, between New Zealand and Pakistan?
Ooh, I'd rather face. I'd face both. I don't have a particular favorite because if you have to win the World Cup, you have to face that team. And
Come
but
on,
to be
you're not
honest,
such a fans, are you? Pretty sure.
momentum wise, Pakistan will be the dangerous of them to face. But with Pakistan, you still know that you take their batting order, it's a glimmer. I'd rather face Pakistan than New Zealand in the final
Fair
because
enough.
you hold the edge against them. You know that you can put them under pressure. But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the New Zealand team, they can be a tough team, man. You know that they've been the bogey team for you for the last and forever now. They've been the bogey team for you. You've lost major knockout games against them. And now I know people want revenge. Every time you go against New Zealand, they're like, "Abhi revenge hoga, abhi revenge hoga." Hota nahi hai revenge, because they always come, and you're the one who crumble under pressure. I'd rather face a Pakistan than a New Zealand team.
या अच्छा, यहाँ पर मैं ऐड करना चाहूंगा. आई नो आई हैव गॉन क्वाइट पब्लिक ऑन से दैट आई वांटेड प्रॉब्ली न्यूजीलैंड इन द सेमीज, एंड दैट्स द रीजन. क्योंकि यार हम भूल जाते हैं, एज मच एज न्यूजीलैंड हैज सीन सक्सेस इन द वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप, in white ball cricket they have lost the T20 finals, they have lost the 50 over World Cup finals. So for them, going into the finals and again yet again not being on the winning side with 2015 final भी सबको याद आता है भाई. So there is a lot of it riding into it. So for me, New Zealand are far more dangerous in the finals than basically Pakistan, in my personal opinion. So yes,
They've got enough experience of losing in the
I'll
finals.
go with
Let's be very
Pakistan as
honest.
well. But just saying, I'm hoping again that people, yes, I know भाई काफी England fans नहीं है chat में, लेकिन आए भी तो भाई, the fact is ये assumption था. Again, we'll come to that absolutely. I think it's a tactic of management to save Babar and Bolt and Southee swinging delivery from South Bolt and Southee.
But you
Okay,
know
not
what?
to open the innings.
Just to say that Baba's record against New Zealand is impeccable. He's not been dismissed. I mean, he's been dismissed only a couple of times. He's got average more than 50. He's got a strike rate of just 125, but then he has got a very good record against New Zealand. So I think he's not had the trouble against Bolt so far. But then um, it will not be the ideal decision to promote him down the order. It just doesn't make any sense for me if he goes down the order, bats at number 4 in that game, because I always keep saying, if an opener who's not got he's got certain limitations. If you're not going to use your resources to optimum, then you're just wasting the resource. Muhammad Harris, you can use him. The way to use him is possibly play him at number 3. It's a better way to use him. But if you want to get the best out of Rizwan and Babar, it's to send them at top of the order. Anything below that, it's like not using the resources at all.
Fair enough. No, that's a fair point. Again, people, by again, I'm waiting for a few more people to join. Hopefully, when we will be selecting the best 11 of the tournament. Yes, मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ because to be fair to the Super 12 teams, it'll be unfair that Pakistan, New Zealand, India, and England get an extra match. So हम end of the tournament वापस से करेंगे. अभी के लिए एक करने वाले absolutely. But quickly मैं न्यूजीलैंड का भी दिखा देता हूँ. Squad, I know I showed Pakistan and not showed New Zealand, but न्यूजीलैंड में I don't know man, मतलब pretty sure they don't need any changes, right? As in for me, as in only aspect which I was thinking of Abel is about Ish Sodhi not getting it right. But where are you seeing? As in, do you see any surprises coming from New Zealand?
No, I mean, Hisori has been the leading wicket taker in this tournament so far, and
Correct.
he's done very well.
No,
He's done.
before the tournament there were question marks, but I think during the
Yes,
tournament he's done
yes.
fine.
The thing with Hisori is that he blows hot and cold. He's not the most consistent bowler. Maybe we often talk about batters like that, but when it comes to his lengths, he can be on a bad day. He can really spread it here and there. And as a leg spinner, it's important to keep the consistency. The way in which how he lands the ball, he tends to be on the shorter side on a bad day, and that's where Pakistan can really exploit. And if you remember the try series where Pakistan played against New Zealand, what Pakistan did was to use Nawaz to counter Sandner and Hisori, and they were successful in doing that. So, but here,
Mhm.
I'm not sure Nawaz is in the best of head spaces, personally speaking. Since that game one, he's really lost it. If I have to say, game one against India,
And
one of the
were you
final.
were you surprised they kind of put him up the order in the last game?
I was surprised. It was to give him some bit of confidence and to take on Shakib Al Hasan. They use him as this tactical ploy, send him up the order, use
Yeah, but
take on the
considering
next
the
stump.
game, it probably put down his confidence. I feel
It
that now.
did. It did. Exactly my point. At this point, that lad is in a totally bad headspace. Against Zimbabwe, he lost it for Pakistan. Against India, he lost it for Pakistan. And against Netherlands, he had a okay day. And against South Africa, he had a bad day again, where he hit the ball, umpire gave it out, and he went out. He very, very thought it was a run out, and he started walking. So He's in the worst possible headspace at this point, and I really don't see him being even
Yeah.
used if there's a left hand in the crease. And Babar has not shown any confidence to him.
But
So it's
exactly, things change quickly. As in we had talking same thing about Rahul 2 games ago. I remember that
yes,
exactly.
but
Not
I
going for the
expected Rahul
LBW
to come
review.
good at some stage. I'm
Yeah.
same as I'm expecting Rohit Sharma to come good, but I knew Rahul would come good at least in one
Yeah,
of those 2 games.
and,
I
and
knew.
and the class is there. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
With all due respect to Nawaz, we are not comparing है भाई सब लोग यहाँ पर अगर सोच रहे तो I'm just giving an example यहाँ पर. But yeah, so I don't know, man. As in again Sydney है. So what do you think? As a team winning the toss would probably bat
bat first,
first, considering semi.
bat,
Yeah,
bat first.
semis as well. I don't see the difference there because imagine like the chasing team, especially being Pakistan, man. As in, that's the only concern that I have in because Pakistan ke batting, I still have my question marks.
Yeah.
That might be a ploy that okay, fine, they might want to bowl
I
second.
think if New Zealand scores anything in excess of 165, 165, anything above 160, I think Pakistan will have a tough time. Someone really have to play out of the skin. Have to play one of the best innings he's played for Pakistan to take them home. I know it could be Babar Azam, it could be Rizwan, it could be Harris, but then you know why I'm saying that? Because Trent Bolt and Tim Southee's opening spell is one of the toughest opening spells any batter had to face in this entire tournament. And they are going to really trouble Babar and Rizwan up top. And especially if it's in the second innings, they've had movement. They've had good, considerable amount of movement in the Sydney cricket ground. I remember the game against Sri Lanka where they played. They were getting a lot of movement, and they're going to have a Lockie Ferguson who's a pace spearhead. He's going to really trouble the likes of the Harris and everybody with a short pitch bowling. Even Nawaz, if he's even sent up the order, he's going to really be troubled with short pitch bowling of Lockie Ferguson. So Pakistan's best option is to bat first, score anything 160, and defend it. But when it comes to New Zealand, they'll be using a similar template, and Pakistan will find it really difficult. What's an ideal chase for Pakistan is 145 to 150. There is where Pakistan will feel a lot more comfortable, even psychologically. Because psychologically, the moment you concede 160 plus in Sydney, you'll know that you have let go of the game quite a bit. Or else, then it'll take something really extraordinary to take them home. So that's why Pakistan will be hoping that even if they win the toss, they bat first. But you know what? Another thing with Pakistan is they have been comfortable chasing in their recent past, in the last couple of years. They've been comfortable of Babar and Rizwan playing in a certain mode where they feel there's a target in front of them. They can take their own time, then let the other players come and accelerate. I don't think it'll always work. And especially in Australian condition, it doesn't usually work. Because in Sydney, these the likes of Trent Bolt and Southee and Sandon and Suri exactly knows how to defend a target. They've done it quite comfortably on a couple of occasions. So they will be a much comfortable team defending a total.
Yeah, by the way, Gaurav, commiserations, yeah, again, bhai. Don't worry. But similar thing, India was in a similar mode. Now, last year, not the South Africa, every World Cup, Gaurav, or bhi main jale pe nimak chakda, I know that. But Gaurav, come on. As in, it's a sport after all. Hopefully, it'll be fine. Again, man, South African cricket, such mein bolu to, I know a lot of people said that South Africa will go on till the end. I had my question marks. I had my question marks because I don't see them doing well in every condition, and I find that
But
again semi-finals,
I
finals.
thought this was South Africa's World Cup. They
You thought so?
bottled it.
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
be
I
very
remember
honest.
discussing with you. I genuinely thought, yeah, in Australia generally they usually have a great team for Australian conditions. I know that as a fact, but I thought the team just the reliance over reliance on David Miller. I thought it was a little bit more.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
when
that's a good
Miller
point.
चलता है तब South Africa चलती वाला चीज हो रहा था, right? तो वहां पर
Yeah,
I thought that compare this to maybe the 2015. I thought वहां पर going back to 2015, man, New Zealand. What are the players' name? I forget the guy who
Grant
played that.
Elliott.
Oh man, Elliot, what a innings he played, I think
Yeah.
that took away. I think that was the World Cup, in my opinion, that South Africa
Even
probably even missed
there,
out.
it was South Africa's match. They dropped catches, they
Correct,
missed run
correct.
out. That game should have been easily pocketed by South Africa. I don't know what happened. And that was possibly South Africa's best chance to win a World Cup. Trust me not. If they would have come in the final, they would have given, the likes of Australia a run for the money. I bet they wouldn't have played. Because New Zealand, what happened to New Zealand was they played all their matches in New Zealand, and the final game they had to come to Australia. So it was
Yeah,
different
and yes, he
conditions.
was South African born, exactly. And
And what
similarly,
happened?
as in
I'll tell you something very interesting.
Vandermeer.
Three of the Nethers, Vandermeer, Colin Ackerman, and Glover, all are South African born. and they had
Wow,
played.
as in Ackerman, I didn't read it, man. That's an interesting one. Absolutely brilliant. As in, yeah, he played a brilliant innings. I must say that he was awesome. But that is what South Africa, bhai, आप लोग क्यों इतना भाई? Again, I know it's a little controversial by quota system and whatnot. I think that is something that they have to figure out what to do. That
Yeah,
South Africa, Zimbabwe, again, again, even Indian fans would love to say that we would like to see that South Africa, where, in my opinion, they were absolute favorites in the 2000s. मतलब वहां तो जो साउथ अफ्रीका मैन imagine the Sean Pollock, the Alan Donalds of the world, man, that
yeah,
bowling attack
yeah,
was some level.
yeah, it
Abhi
was.
bhi bowling attack is awesome, yeah, but again, that variation somewhere down the line, I thought the reliance was more in just a couple of players versus the team.
Yeah,
Of course, you can also argue that the captaincy, talking about captaincy, uh, man, Kane Williamson, the guy is actually back in form as well. I believe that he is the one for the big occasion, right? But what's your
oh yeah.
prediction now? And then let's go with the prediction. Who's going to be the man of the match and who's going to be the star man tomorrow? By the way, sub log dopair ko hai, so I'm not sure if I'm doing a watch along. I'll try and do a live review or basically the second innings. But yeah, please, Abel.
See, my heart says Pakistan will win tomorrow, but my brain says New Zealand, just because of cricketing reasons. And I'd rather face, as an Indian fan, I'd rather see Pakistan India final because there's a hype to it. It's like watching Barca and Madrid play in a Champions League final, which has never happened.
It's
And
even better, bro.
2007,
Trust me, it's even better.
yeah, it's even better. It's definitely better because of everything and whatever has happened. Everybody wants that repeat of 2007 and the result also. So, so for that reason, my heart says Pakistan in the final. But then, to be very honest, I see uh, New Zealand winning it. And I'm sorry
You
for
see New
Pakistan
Zealand
fans, but
winning
because I see someone like
back to
a
back
Devin
semis.
Conway really firing tomorrow. Devin Conway, if he fires, he was not going to play the most impactful one. I see what they're going to do, what they did against Australia. They're going to follow a similar template because it's a similar bowling attack. They have a left arm pacer. I think this guy Finn Allen is going to take on Shaheen Afridi. I don't know if it'll come out or not. If it comes off, well and good. And he's going to take on a Naseem Shah, and they're going to play out Shadab Khan. This is what's going to happen, or they
You
might
think so?
target him.
Okay. Let's see.
I
Let's see.
think they're going to play out. They're going to attack Shadab Khan using Devin Conway and Nishan. So this is how they're going to go about it. I think I'm just predicting the formula what they follow because they're very tactical. They don't attack every bowler. They attack specific bowler in specific overs. So that's the way they'll go about it. That's why I give them an edge. See, with Pakistan, they're riding on a high. Uh, Many of you might have heard what Matthew Hayden told in the dressing room. He went on to say
Yeah.
that many teams thought they got rid of us, but here we are, and now it's time for
Yeah,
us to go on
and you
to.
know what? Everyone, social media went crazy. I remember myself. I have to admit that, as in the Mr. Bean episode, etc. And I know that happened in the tournament. And आप देख सकते हो मैं यहाँ झूठ नहीं बोलने वाला हूँ. लेकिन same time, I think Shoaib Akhtar, I remember he got like hell targeted, and then he actually made some things, publicly known. And I think you have to give, definitely them that yes, definitely that Dutch element has come into picture. The
Oh,
Dutch
yeah.
team has helped,
I
but
think
I
more
think
than
that faith
Dutch,
was
they
there.
should just thank South Africa for really making a mess of it. Because I thought the first big mistake they did was to ball first against Dutch team. You knew it was a must win. You know what South Africa did was to underestimate the opposition. What even India never did that. India could have easily balled first against Zimbabwe or
Yeah,
easily balled first against the
it's
Dutch team.
big
But what
grounds,
India
man.
did,
It's big grounds. It's not easy to chase here. It's not easy to chase
it's
here,
not easy to
especially.
chase, and there's no dew to save you, right? That dew
Correct.
was such a bad factor in all the matches in UAE. I know their grounds are really good, but then the factor the UAE really spoiled cricket for 2 years because of the dew factor. It really made sure T20 cricket was affected in a major way. But talking about Australian conditions, because they knew it was not going to be easy to chase under lights, South Africa really messed it up. South Africa could
Mhm.
have easily won that game batting first, scoring anything in extra 160. They would have scored 160 if they were batted first. They messed it up big time, and the pitch also slowed down considerably in the second innings. I would say it's South Africa to blame ultimately.
Yeah, but Ishan has got a point. I remember Manav, again, a member of Almighty Fam. By the way, yes, for people watching, again, I request everyone to like the stream or by Almighty Blues FC में membership भी open है, just in case you want to check it out. But there are a lot of perks coming up more as well, not that they already exist. But he did mention about the 92, as in, again, there are a lot of memes as well about the 92
Mm.
World Cup, and India's 2011 World Cup. The resemblance in kind of what has happened, what has not happened is kind of there. But ईशान, as in being a Chelsea fan, क्योंकि आपने mention किया है भाई, सेम चीज हम लास्ट ईयर भी करे थे चेल्सी का चैंपियंस लीग कैंपेन में, हर साल करते हैं, तो every day is not Sunday, as I always like saying it, but it's simple. South Africa just come to some
It's
pressure.
funny
Yeah,
how
that's
they relate everything with Oreo biscuit, with Pakistan's 92 World Cup. Kabhi kabhi na, what happens is we don't look into cricketing reasons. We look into all these superstitions, and ultimately, if it doesn't work, we just get so disappointed. Trust me.
yeah,
So,
it's a story, right? Let's be honest. That story was story बिकती है भाई, वही है story, is something that is there. But yeah, then so everyone भाई, सब लोग prediction कर दो भाई. एक चीज होता है आप जो चाहते हो, जैसे एबल ने बोला, बहुत अच्छे से समझाया what he wants and what he basically things will happen. So do let me know your prediction. I would like to agree with Abel. Yes, I know that it's going to be a New Zealand final again, which is a dangerous element. But साथ साथ में पाकिस्तान, yes, back to back semi-final loss होगा उनके लिए T20 World Cups के लिए, but the reality is that Pakistan, even being in the semi-finals, I believe that, and I know I said that you shouldn't say punch above the waist, उनके केस में actually था. I would actually say that, because they are, talk about South Africa being very reliant on a certain couple of people. Pakistan are even more. Pakistan is even more. And yes, यहाँ पर, yes, Shaheen Shafri is not looking 100% fit, but again, वही hope पाकिस्तान का, जैसे मैंने बोला था ये वो last stream में we discuss,
mm,
if Pakistan have a chance, the only way for me the chance can be is because the bowling lineup takes off the New Zealand batting lineup, and
absolutely.
we are talking about, and you made a great point वहाँ पर, because Conway, Glenn Phillips, and of course Finn Allen, so these are like three swashbuckling players, and then around that you have a Kane Williamson. So
Yeah.
imagine that. That's a very difficult kind of a lineup to
And
kind of
don't
take
forget,
on.
likes of Daryl Mitchell. He's
Oh yeah,
such a utility player. Last year, you asked him to open the batting. He went open the batting, played one of his best innings in the semi-final, taking New Zealand to the final. And that lad will come in handy. You don't know how he's going to come in handy. These guys, so many utility players, Jimmy Neesham, Sandner. You will, why are they so successful? Because there's so much of utility players who likes to play for the team. There is no ego in it. There is no one man. When we talk about India, Tendulkar hai. When you talk about Virat Kohli hai. It is not the case. Though there is Kane Williamson, but when you go to New Zealand, they don't really rate Kane Williamson like if we are hyping up. I think Indians hype up Kane Williamson more than anybody else. To be
no, वो
honest, in that
होता है ना. I'll tell you why. मतलब I remember again, आप लोग याद हो कि नहीं, I remember clearly able in basically I feel that one of the most underrated cricketers, as in talk about New Zealand Pakistan, na, I know Saeed Anwar. Saeed Anwar over the years, no, I don't think he has been in that level considered. Like Inzi has still got it, but I don't think Saeed Anwar got that level of praise. और Indians
Mhm.
का क्यों आता है बहुत praise? क्योंकि sometimes some people play crazily well. Shivnarayan Chanderpaul today was in the Hall of Fame. Indians
Mhm.
were scared of Chanderpaul more than Lara,
Yeah,
bro. That's
yeah,
a fact. So,
yeah,
as in sometimes you get some players who really get the best out of themselves against
yeah,
you, and Williamson has, and especially the important games, we can never forget Williamson and Ross Taylor, what they've done to India over the years, right?
yeah,
As in
yeah,
those
yeah.
are things that I would rather forget, but we can never forget. Uh, yeah, Sanjeev, you're right, but exactly that is what the difference is. वो हो सकता है कैंसिल कर दिया और टिकट्स, यार कौन सा मूवी था यार जहाँ पर टिकट्स कैंसिल करना पड़ा, वो रियल स्टोरी पे बेस्ड है, वन ऑफ द स्पोर्टिंग स्टोरीज, आई रिमेंबर दैट, एंड पाकिस्तान का ऑलमोस्ट दैट यू कैन से. बट इमेजिन यार, जिम्बाब्वे, आई वुड से मोर देन पाकिस्तान, नो, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, जिम्बाब्वे have lost their chance, as in that those three
Yeah,
runs, against Bangladesh probably would have been a difference, who knows, right?
absolutely. I think
Sarwan,
they'll
yeah.
be kicking themselves.
Yeah, reminds me of Ricky Ponting, man. If England win the World Cup, I guess they would be the first team to hold both the T20 and ODI World Cup at the
Mm.
same time. Okay,
Yeah,
so shots
they will really
incoming अगर
stamp
आते हैं.
authority to be the most consistent white ball team of that generation
I
or the
said it,
decade.
Abel. See, that is why I'm scared, bro. That is why I'm scared. Like I know Abibi are there. They dropped. I think Moeen Ali dropped the catch the other day, and I know that they're not looking
They've
100% fit.
not peaked, and that's the most dangerous thing. I would rather face a
Dangerous,
peaking in the English team because you don't know when they come when they're gonna come good, right? And with this
right, right.
English team, I know we're going away from the topic. We're going to talk about New Zealand versus Pakistan. I really want to talk about Pakistan team as well. But yeah, just on a minute on English team. The thing with English team is that they've got it in them. They've got individual match winners in every position, as I keep saying. But the good thing is, it's going to be a used wicket in Adelaide for that game. So what really goes against England for that game is it's dry conditions in Adelaide. It's no more cold, and it's a used wicket, which means Indian spinners or even a Harshal Patel can come in handy. And English, that certain brand of cricket which England plays, will not be able to. You won't be able to play that. You saw that already in
Let's
Sydney.
hope. Let's
On
hope.
long wickets, it doesn't really help.
That's all. And again, we'll be discussing in detail as well tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll find the time and do a stream on that as well. People, भाई मुझे आए थे काफी DM. So भाई सब लोग again, do not forget to check out Abel's Insta link as well. I have put it. आज मैंने पहले डाला है instead of later on. So people do check out. Give him a follow on Insta. I have definitely marked him in my stories as well. But also do not forget to like the stream. And yes, I know crazy content आने वाला on both the channels. So something special is going to come on Almighty Blues FC hopefully tomorrow. So stay tuned for that as well. ठीक है लेकिन हाँ New Zealand has a history of bottling finals, bro. That is the thing, Farhan. कि finally that might change. ये when India are in the mix, no, I don't want that to change. At least for now, जब India है chance के लिए. लेकिन we'll talk about England tomorrow. Gaurav as well. Okay, Syed, out of topic है, but कोई नहीं, we'll come back to it. And thanks for joining, Syed, as always. Hi to Adri as well. भाई let's भाई लोग आ गए अब तो लेट्स सेलेक्ट द बेस्ट 11. आई नो वी हैव गॉन थ्रू न्यूजीलैंड पाकिस्तान एंड वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट प्लेयर्स परफॉर्मेंसेस इंक्लूडिंग बोथ ऑफ देम. बेस्ट 11 कर देते हैं क्विकली. सो एज ऑलवेज पीपल हु रिमेंबर हु आर रेगुलर ऑन स्ट्रीम नो दैट हम काफी कंबाइंड 11 करते हैं, बेस्ट 11 करते हैं. तो एबल, आई थिंक यू हैव बीन इन वन ऑफ द बेस्ट 11, राइट? वी विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम 1 to 11, राइट? सो आई हैव सम स्टैट्स इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी, बट रादर देन स्टैट्स वी विल गो विद आई टेस्ट. ठीक है, तो आई
Yeah.
टेस्ट से आप बोलो जो आपको याद आता है. इट कुड बी एनीवन फ्रॉम द सुपर 12. ठीक है, 12 टीम थे, 12 टीम से आप पिक करोगे 1 to 11. तो नंबर 3 तो फिक्स है. नंबर 3 अगर कोई बोल रहा है चेंज करो तो भाई मैं
Number
तो
three
पता
or
नहीं क्या
four भी
करने वाला
fixed
हूँ.
है. Number 3, 4, 5 is fixed.
हाँ, तो यू टेल मी भाई, एवरीवन इन द चैट भाई, नंबर 1 और 2 से शुरू करते हैं. चलो, हु आर द ओपनर्स फॉर यू, द बेस्ट 2 ओपनर्स इन टूर्नामेंट? और ज्यादा लोग आए तो मैं पोल भी डालूंगा और मजा आएगा. लेकिन सब लोग लाइक करिए, शेयर करिए, ज्यादा लोग आ जाएंगे उससे. ठीक है, अजय विल कम टू दैट टुमारो. लाइक आई सेड, इंग्लैंड का हम डिस्कस करेंगे कल. लेकिन 1 और 2 ओपनर्स, अगेन मैं अगर देख रहा हूँ जस्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ ओपनर्स में जो सबसे ज्यादा रन्स मारा है, तो कौन होगा यार? मतलब आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कुशाल मेंडिस वाज ही ओपनिंग.
Yeah, Patum Nisanka had a very good season. He was also opening, but Kushal Mendes had a very poor World Cup. Patum Nisanka had a better one.
You think Nishanka had less? अच्छा, he had one less game and he scored more, I think, just about. लेकिन
Hmm.
who else ओपनर में कौन अच्छा था भाई? पॉल स्टर्लिंग, दिस वाज a shout.
Yes, even Max Odod had a very good World Cup, but it's tough to be honest. Do we have to really pick up an opener? Can we pick up a middle order batter in the opening position?
भाई किसको किसको करेंगे? विराट को
To
ओपन
be
कर
honest,
दीजिए
I'll
क्या?
go with Alex Hales. To be honest, he played decent knocks, and I think
I think England has actually done subpar in the World Cup, I would say, in terms of top order. ये मेरा है opinion. Let me see what the chat is saying. I think Sanjeev is going for Finn Allen. Finn Allen open fine? No? नहीं? I don't know.
yeah, Finn
McLaren
Allen
कौन
is a
है?
good one. Finn Allen is a good one. Played
Uh,
two impact knocks
yeah, I think
and two important matches.
I feel Kushal Mendes probably deserves it. एक तो
Mm,
नहीं?
no, he was looking very bad to be honest. And I think
Okay.
Finn Allen is a must.
या तो चलो अभी के लिए आई थिंक लेट्स पुट इन अभी के लिए व्हाट विल कम बैक टू ओपनिंग स्पॉट. अभी के लिए वी हैव पुट फिन एलन एंड एलेक्स हेल्स. क्या
I
बोलते
think
हो?
Finn Allen and I'll go with KL Rahul. Why? Because KL Rahul played in an important match.
रियली ब्रो, यू हैड द क्राउड ऑफ माय फीट देयर. ऑनेस्टली भाई, दो 50s मारे ना
हाँ, he's the only
भाई.
opener to score
लेकिन
two 50s.
मतलब उसके लिए मैन ऑफ द मैच डिजर्व करता था भाई. लेकिन प्लेयर ऑफ द
हाँ,
मतलब ओपनर ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट, रियली.
yeah, look at the openers of this tournament. They've been poor. They've been awful. I mean, just look at the impact they've created. KL Rahul's knock against Bangladesh was an impactful knock. If not for that, I think we would have lost that match. So for that
या
innings, alongside Finn Allen, I'll put him there.
और भाई केएल राहुल कोई बोला नहीं है अभी तक. चैट में थोड़ा जनता जनार्दन का भी हम करते हैं हमेशा. भाई सब लोग अगेन डू नॉट फॉरगेट हिट दैट लाइक बटन. अभी मजा करने वाले हैं अब तो, थोड़ा मजा मजा टाइम. भाई फिन एलन अगेंस्ट, व्हाट, लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर गोइंग फॉर फिन एलन. आई थिंक
Finn
फिन
Allen
एलन
should be
प्रॉब्ली.
there. I
या आई
told you, he
थिंक
set that tempo for the tournament.
सेकंड दूसरा बोले भाई, क्विंटन डिकॉक 100% बोल रहे
No,
मे
no,
बी
no.
विद बबूमा बीइंग आउट ऑफ फॉर्म ही वाज इंपॉर्टेंट, आई नो, बट डिड ही
But he
डू
did not
इनफ? नो.
play much,
या ही
except a
डिडंट डू
couple of
इनफ.
innings.
नहीं
Maybe you can.
देखो, अगर अगर स्टैट्स के लिए जाओगे ना, मतलब टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, आई थिंक निशांका, आई थिंक योर पॉइंट वाज गुड. निशांका probably had a better kind of impact So I won't mind Nisanka. अरे भाई, we are joined with Shrey as well, and this is the time भाई Shrey मजा आता है ना, तो Shrey आ जाते हैं भाई हमेशा. We all भाई
Right.
everyone भाई Shrey FC सबको पता ही है. तो do not forget to subscribe to them as well as all the links below जो मैं ऐड करने वाला हूँ Shrey का भी just about. लेकिन हम ओपनर पिक कर रहे हैं, तो we have picked अभी टीम ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट हो रहा है अभी तक सुपर 12 का. तो चैट एक चीज बोल रही है, हम लोग एक चीज बोल रहे हैं, तो श्रेय यू आर द डिसाइडर. फिन एलन तो है एक तो, और एक और एलेक्स हेल्स, या you would go for the श्रीलंकन निशांका, or would you say Paul Sterling or something out of the blue, or maybe KL Rahul, who knows.
आई थिंक मैं ये बोलूंगा, आई थिंक फॉर मी कुशल मेंडिस हैज प्लेड बेटर देन निशंका. चाहे वो एक इनिंग्स ही, बट मेंडिस हैज लुक मोर
मैं तो
एश्योर्ड.
बोल रहा था, लेकिन आई थिंक ही इज नॉट लुक्ड इंप्रेसिव टू एबल बोल रहे, वो एक होता है ना
He's looked good, but then he's not played that knock, and
आई टेस्ट.
I don't think he deserves to make it the team of the tournament. Maybe
हाँ,
that's
चलो
why I
I
think
agree
we'll come
with
back
that.
to this. I think we are unable to decide right now. हाँ, again यहाँ पर 16 के
Max
बजाय
Shoutout
60
भी
लोग
अच्छी
देखे तो
शॉट है. Max
हाँ
Shoutout is a good shout.
हाँ, वही
हाँ,
हम
मैक्स
लोग थोड़ा
हर्ड है.
बॉक्स ऑफिस
बट
गेम्स
आई
के
थिंक
लिए जाते हैं.
नॉकआउट में उसकी ना, नॉकआउट जो मेन स्टेजेस में परफॉर्मेंस ज्यादा आई नहीं उसकी, उसमें आई थी क्वालिफिकेशन
उसमें
स्टेज में, बट
हाँ
उसमें नहीं आई
एग्जैक्टली. हम
मीन 12
मैं
में.
सुपर 12 का बात कर रहा हूँ, याद रखिए सुपर 12 से ज्यादा वेटेज देंगे हम, थोड़ा देखेंगे पहले का भी, लेकिन
हाँ.
सुपर 12 का ज्यादा देखेंगे.
आई थिंक
No,
एरन
Alex,
फिंच शुड बी देयर. एरन फिंच ने बहुत अच्छा खेला है
Aaron
ग्रुप
Finch is
स्टेज
a
में.
good
ही हैज
shout.
प्लेड वेरी वेल.
He's looked one of the
ओके,
better openers.
बट स्टिल ब्रो 100 रन्स मैन, कम ऑन, दैट्स नथिंग फॉर मी.
I think KL Rahul is also not bad then.
या एग्जैक्टली,
नहीं,
आई वुड रादर हैव
मैं
केएल
आई
राहुल
विल
देन
नॉट पुट हिम, आई एम
एरन
सॉरी,
फिंच.
बट
बट
आई
एनीवे,
थिंक
तो चलो बहुत टाइम ले रहे हैं हम लोग, लेट्स मूव ऑन भाई. नंबर 3 विराट कोहली हमने डाल दिया, ठीक है, तो वो तो
कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. विराट और सूर्य तो होने चाहिए
नंबर
नंबर
4
3.
एलन, यू सॉरी एलन बोल रहा हूं, एबल, यू हैड अ
Number
obvious
4
choice.
is
Can
Surya,
you,
there is no doubt. And number
तो
5,
सूर्या,
Glenn Phillips.
सूर्य कुमार
I don't know if
यादव
you people have another.
and Glenn Phillips would. I'll take the chat, don't worry भाई. तो अब 3 4 5 का बात करें, we are talking about middle order everyone. 3 4 5 सब लोग कमेंट करिए. नंबर 4 ग्लेन फिलिप्स और सूर्या, यहाँ पर दोनों को डाल दिया अपन डाल दिया सूर्या को 4, या अलग भी डाल सकते हैं, ग्लेन फिलिप्स को 4 डाल सकते हैं. आई थिंक दैट वे इज इवन बेटर इन फैक्ट माय ओपिनियन. ग्लेन फिलिप्स एंड सूर्या को 5 कर सकते हैं, जो भी है. केएल राहुल को भी मत लिखना चैट पे. अरे कोई भी मत लिखना. अरे क्यों भाई, मैच जीता है आपको. अगर वो हम टीम टूर्नामेंट के बाहर हो जाते, अगर केएल राहुल वो रन आउट नहीं करते और इनिंग्स नहीं खेलते, तो
नहीं,
बस
बट
सही.
अंकित भाई रन आउट को नहीं लेके हम डाल सकते हैं, बैटिंग की एबिलिटी से
हाँ,
डाल
वो
रहे
मैं
हैं
अग्री
तो.
करता हूँ, इसलिए मैंने डाला ना. आई अग्री दैट बेसिकली ही इज नॉट इन द टीम ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट, एब्सोल्युटली. लेकिन मतलब थोड़ा सा इतना इंसल्ट भी नहीं कर सकते. तेम्बा बबूमा, गुड पन इंटेंडेड वहां पर.
Not bad.
मोहम्मद हारिस बहुत ही अच्छा इंपैक्ट रहा है सुपर 12 में, मस्ट से 2 मैच,
Yeah,
बट इट इज
yeah.
इनफ. नॉट
No,
रियली.
not really.
पाकिस्तान बैट्समैन, टू बी
I
वेरी
think
ऑनेस्ट, फेयर टू
I
देम.
would rather go for Iftikhar. He can be a good shout at number 6.
नहीं यार,
बट
लेकिन
प्रॉब्लम
दिस
यही है
इज
ना,
इनफ.
इफ्तिकार आता है नंबर 4 पे, और नंबर 4 पे ग्लेन और सूर्य ऑलरेडी है, तो
हाँ, वही.
जीत नहीं सकता वो वहां पे.
ओके, किंग कोहली, सूर्या एंड फिलिप्स. हाँ, वही बानव भी जा रहे हैं, सौरदीप. सिकंदर रजा 100% हैज टू बी देयर, ही हैज
He's
टू बी इन
number
द
6.
टीम.
Number
ठीक है,
6.
नंबर 6 सिकंदर. आई नो ही इज टेकन अ स्पॉट ऑफ बाय हार्दिक पांड्या. इमेजिन दैट, कितने बार होता है भाई.
नहीं,
श्रेय,
आई थिंक
एनी अदर
हम
नेम?
अगर मैं वी कैन पुट अ लॉट ऑफ ऑप्शंस, इतने सारे हैं, मैं आपको एंड में अभी बताऊंगा. अभी और भी हार्दिक की भी जगह, और एक और बंदा भी आ सकता है.
जॉन विलियम्स.
नहीं, आप एक एक मेरे ख्याल से हार्दिक पांड्या भी आ सकता है, और शदब खान तो होना ही चाहिए टीम में.
Shadab Khan is number 7. I think he's going to be man
हाँ,
of the
नंबर
tournament
7
with
के लिए
Pakistan.
परफेक्ट है. आई थिंक पाकिस्तान बैटिंग वे टू हाई इन माय ओपिनियन. I think Pakistan should actually think of getting a proper batter there anyway.
क्योंकि हार्दिक ने जिस तरह पाकिस्तान के लिए बॉलिंग करी है, ही हैज टू बी हियर. या तो सिकंदर राजा को हटा सकते, क्योंकि बैटिंग की परफॉर्मेंस ज्यादा आई नहीं, मेन स्टेज पे नहीं आई सिकंदर
I
राजा
think
की.
Hardik का bowling काफी अच्छा रहा है. He's our second leading wicket taker, 8 wickets, and I think
चलो
we
भाई,
should
तो
feature Hardik at some way or the other.
really, I disagree. मुझे लगता आई एम अंडरवेल्ड. मे बी इट्स अनफेयर ऑन हार्दिक बिकॉज़ आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो.
I mean,
आई एम
it's
नॉट
not
पुटिंग एट
bad.
पार विद
Sikandar
अदर्स.
also deserves it because he's had such a wonderful tournament when it comes
Yeah,
to
this
MVP ball.
I rather would go with Shadab at number 7 and Sikandar at 6. I know
Yeah.
in a proper T20 game you won't like to have that 6 and 7. I know where you're coming from. Lekin in terms of the tournament, I think Sikandar has literally played out teams, yeah, in a couple of games. So I think Sikandar Raza has to be there. Shadab, the fact is,
Number
again,
7. Yeah.
I actually feel he's one of the most smartest bowlers who's really
Absolutely.
underrated. I really feel that.
Really.
Sam Curran at 7.
Yeah, no,
Even
Sam
Sam
Curran
Curran
at
can
8.
be 8. Sam
8.
Curran can be put at 8.
8, yeah.
या
I
भाई
was just
इंग्लैंड
thinking
का
about
मैंने देखा ही नहीं एक्चुअली टू बी ऑनेस्ट यू गाइस आर राइट
5 विकेट ली
एक्चुअली
थी सैम करन ने श्रीलंका के खिलाफ,
सैम
नहीं
करन
पहले
लेना
मैच में नहीं,
चाहिए
10 wickets in
अफगानिस्तान,
the
सॉरी सॉरी।
tournament. Yeah.
तो यहाँ पर मैं देख रहा हूँ भाई शादाब खान आ गया सैम करन आ गया अरे बाप रे ये तो भाई काफी इंटरेस्टिंग हो रहा है भाई अभी तक मैंने किसको किसको डाला मैं रीड आउट कर रहा हूँ आई एम नॉट काइंड ऑफ शेयरिंग इट ऑन द स्क्रीन येट भाई फिन एलन ठीक है एलेक्स हेल्स और निशांका दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव डन सो दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन बेसिकली यू गाइस अभी के लिए विराट कोहली सूर्य कुमार यादव ग्लेन फिलिप्स सिकंदर रजा शादाब खान सैम करन ठीक है तो टॉप 8 इज डन बट लेट मी एक्चुअली मीनवाइल जस्ट क्विकली चेक कि भाई मतलब आर वी मिसिंग आउट ऑन समवन मतलब अगेन इफ यू आर मिसिंग आउट पीपल इन द चैट प्लीज हेल्प अस आउट क्योंकि यार T20 इज ऑल अबाउट विकेट टेकिंग इज वेल भाई हसरंगा हम मिस कर दिए बट डिड ही हैव इनफ इंपैक्ट इन
No.
इट वाज
सुपर
नॉट
12
इनफ।
I think we have already a leg spinner in Shadab, he's good enough.
तो शादाब वर्सेस हसरंगा आई थिंक शादाब हैज हैड मोर इन सुपर 12 राइट एवरीवन बोलिए ओके लेट्स सी आई गो विद अर्शदीप ऑन 8 भाई
Arshdeep,
बैटिंग
अर्शदीप
बीच हो
8
जाएगी।
Arshdeep is 11, number 11 for me. He's a good choice.
एग्जैक्टली आई नंबर 8 बहुत हाई हो गया ना अर्जीव के लिए ओके नो प्रॉब्लम ताहा खान एलेक्स हेल्स और निशांका और लॉर्ड बाबर आजम तो प्लीज नहीं यार
Babar Azam.
भाई हाउ ये एक पन इंटेंडेड है अजय मुझे दिख रहा है मुझे दिख रहा है
I
डेफिनेटली
think Shaheen Afridi has more runs than Babar Azam in the tournament.
दिस
Had more
गाय
runs until the Bangladesh game.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली भाई
As
डिलीडी आई थिंक
good choice.
डिलीट, बट
it's
वही है,
actually
डिलीट का भी ना जो मेन परफॉर्मेंस है वो बॉलिंग के वे में
हाँ।
आया, बैटिंग नहीं आई।
हाँ बोलेंगे अभी नंबर 9 बात कर रहे हैं अपन नंबर 8 तो हो गया
नंबर
ऑलमोस्ट
9 का बॉलर नहीं है वो, नंबर 9 का बॉलर
नहीं।
नहीं है, एक प्रॉपर बॉलर नहीं है।
Proper
भाई
bowler.
देखिए ना यार नेदरलैंड्स की टीम यार पाकिस्तान को हेल्प की और साउथ अफ्रीका को
I
निकाली
think
है
you should go with
तो
the
एक भी होगा
Pakistan pace.
जोशुआ
maybe.
लिटिल, मेरे को लगता है जोशुआ लिटिल के तो होना ही चाहिए टीम में, जोशुआ लिटिल।
हाँ, Joshua Little is not a bad choice.
जोशुआ
He can
लिटिल
be number 10, number 11.
ओके अगेन नोकिया एनीवन नोकिया आई थिंक
नोकिया होना
नोकिया
चाहिए। नोकिया तो क्या बॉलिंग करी है इस
9
पूरे।
10 11 बोल दो सब लोग भाई 9 10 11 बोल
But
दो
it'll be
आप
between Nokia and Markwood. Who will you go with?
I'll go with Nokia.
Nokia.
He bowled some tremendous overs, bro. As in
Okay.
unplayable overs. I test से जा रहा हूँ मैं. I'm not going stats. ठीक है. Stats में भी I think Nokia had better stats. Let me just check it up. Nokia actually
Yeah, I
had
think.
okay. So he picked 11 wickets. I think
Yeah.
Nokia that is,
Yeah.
and okay, fair enough. So I think it's Markwood का इतना नहीं है. Markwood 9 wickets है. तो couple of wickets है, but I think again I'm
Nokia.
simply put
So
Nokia
if
is what
Nokia
I
at
would
number
do.
9.
I think Nokia and Arshdeep. क्या बोलते हो सब लोग? Agree?
Nokia and
आई थिंक
Arshdeep.
मेरे
So
को लगता
number
है हमें
9.
थोड़ा इसको और टीम से डिवाइड नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि आई थिंक हमने ऑलरेडी इंडिया के 2 प्लेयर्स लिए लाइनअप में, थोड़ा सा
हाँ.
दूसरी लाइनअप में डिवाइड करके।
तो यहाँ मैं कमेंट में डाल देता हूँ अभी तक भाई नोकिया तो फिक्स हो गया प्रीटी श्योर नोकिया इज देयर एवरीवन अग्रीज नोकिया आई डोंट थिंक एनीवन इन द चैट डिसएग्रीज एज वेल भाई यहाँ पर तो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ ना यहाँ पर बिकॉज
I mean, unfortunate for Harshdeep also to miss out. It's had such a good tournament. And that's where, it's tough.
बट आई थिंक अगर हम ज्यादा डिवर्ज करें, आई थिंक बोल्ट ने भी बहुत अच्छी विकेटिंग स्टैट्स बहुत अच्छे
You
बोल्ट
can
किए।
put one left arm seamer. How about we
अच्छा
put Bolt?
तो देखो अभी हम दैट्स अ ग्रेट पॉइंट तो चलो भाई मैं चैट में आ रहा हूँ एक मिनट तो देखिए न्यूजीलैंड से कितने लोग हैं अभी तक ग्लेन
फिन
फिलिप्स
एलन है
है
और
फिन
फिलिप्स
एलन
है,
दो ही है ना ठीक है इंग्लैंड से सैम करन दिख रहा है मुझे खाली
एक है।
ठीक है
हाँ,
इंडिया से कोहली सूर्या
2 हो गए इंडिया
दो
से।
ही है और पाकिस्तान बचा पाकिस्तान में शादाब आ गया और बस
नहीं,
शादाब
एक
ही
ही
है
है,
अभी तक
और एक साउथ अफ्रीका से आ गया, एंड्रिक
हाँ
नॉर्वे
शादाब
I
जिम्बाब्वे से आ
think
गया।
Bolt का तो shout out चाहिए. Bolt या Southie
बट
कोई
3
भी.
न्यूजीलैंड के प्लेयर्स हो जाएंगे, आई थिंक 3 न्यूजीलैंड प्लेयर्स हो जाएंगे लाइनअप में।
हाँ, यही इशू है. They've had such good tournaments.
देखो
So
मैं बेसिकली 12 के 12 तो नहीं डाल सकता ऑब्वियसली लेकिन आई वुड रादर मतलब व्हाट डू यू थिंक पीपल मुजरबानी बोल रहे हैं मुजरबानी इज अ गुड शाउट एक्चुअली
नहीं, मुजरबानी आई थिंक आई थिंक इंडिया वाले मैच में ना, जो और एक और मैच था उस पर परफॉर्मेंस नहीं आई मुजरबानी की जो हम एक्सपेक्ट
नहीं
करते
आया,
हैं।
उतना नहीं आया.
हाँ देखिए
Actually,
मतलब should we not put players who are
should we not
belonging to
look at
teams which
Netherlands?
almost had a
नेदरलैंड्स के
chance to
बॉलर्स
get
ने
to
जिस तरह
semis
बॉलिंग करवाई है,
हम्म
फ्रेड क्लासन ने बहुत अच्छी बॉलिंग कराई है। फ्रेड क्लासन हैज बोल्ड सो वेल।
There's some really good left arm pieces
so
in this World Cup.
okay so you would put him above Bas Dilidi क्या
फ्रेड क्लासन हैज बीन बेटर देन बास दलीडी।
yeah Harris Rauf is an option
Harris Rauf has had good impact, but then he's been also slightly inconsistent when it comes to some of the games. He doesn't deserve to be in the
Okay.
team.
यहाँ
And
पर मानव एक बोल रहे हैं
Taskin Ahmed is the one we are forgetting. Taskin
Actually,
Ahmed.
yes, Taskin Ahmed is
वो
a
तो
very
डाल
good
दो
shout.
भाई एवरीवन अग्री टास्किन का भाई कोई कमेंट नहीं डाला टास्किन का अभी तक
काफी
देखा
अच्छा
नहीं भाई
बॉलिंग
टास्किन
इंडिया के साथ भी
वही
यू बॉल वेरी इकोनॉमिकली.
जैसे नोकिया के मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना अनप्लेएबल टास्किन अहमद एक्चुअली बोल दोस अनप्लेएबल ओवर्स एंड
एक्चुअली
अर्शदीप एक्चुअली मैंने ऑनेस्टली मैं बोलूँ सच में बोलूँ एज अ प्लेयर मैं सोच रहा हूँ अभी आई थिंक अर्शदीप टास्किन एंड नोकिया हैज टू बी द बॉलिंग लाइनअप and
फेयर
Sam
इनफ.
Curran is there. Sam Curran, I agree Manav's point, but I think honestly speaking, those have been the best bowlers. Well, again, I know मैं थोड़ा सा यहाँ वीटो कर दिया हूँ, लेकिन सब लोग का देखते हैं जिमी नीशन के बारे में कुछ बोलो भाई. जिमी नीशन ऐसा बोलूंगा मैं आई ऑलवेज मोर एक्सपेक्ट मोर फ्रॉम हिम सच में बोलूँ तो एकदम बट द गाय एक्चुअली डज अ जॉब सो फेयर इनफ. ओके तास्किन अहमद एंड मार्क वुड आई डोंट नो यार दोनों नहीं लोगे ना मार्क वुड और
दोनों सेम बॉलर्स है.
नोकिया. I would rather see Arshdeep or I think Sam Curran are very different. What do you say? Would you agree with that?
मैं एक चीज बोलूंगा. आप अगर हम एक टीम बनाते हैं, हम हमेशा एक तीन टाइप के पेसर्स लेते हैं टीम में. आपकी टीम में एक हमेशा सक्सेसफुल T20 टीम है, तो एक आपके पास लेग स्पिनर होगा, एक आपके पास ऑफ स्पिनर होगा, एक आपके पास ऑलराउंडर होगा, चाहे स्पिन हो चाहे वो. और तीन पेसर में एक होगा जो यॉर्कर्स डाल सके, डेथ में बॉलिंग कर सके, एक होगा जो बाउंसर्स डाल सके, शॉर्ट पिच डिलीवरी डाल सके, और एक होगा जो बीच में स्विंग करवा सके. ये अटैक मेरे ख्याल से होता है जिस तरह आप जाओगे. तो इसमें मैं देखूंगा तो पेस में अगर आप किसी को लोगे तो मार्क वुड और तास्किन का कंपटीशन होगा, क्योंकि दोनों सेम टाइप की इंपैक्ट डालते हैं. अगर आप यॉर्कर्स के लिए जाओगे तो अर्शदीप के अलावा और कोई नहीं है मेरे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू
सैम
से.
करन भी है.
और अगर आप
सैम करन
सीम के
काफी
लिए
अच्छा
जाओगे
था.
तो जोशुआ लिटल.
देखो आप आपके पास वैरायटी ऑलरेडी है श्रेय. सिकंदर रजा हम भूल रहे हैं. सिकंदर रजा है ना टीम में, शादाब है, सिकंदर रजा है, तो आई थिंक वैरायटी इशू
Actually,
नहीं है.
spin department covered. And when it comes to death bowling, I think Sam Curran, Arshdeep Singh, the way Sam Curran has bowled in the death list after he's
Okay,
really reinvented himself has been
let
very
me
good.
put the team again, for everyone out there. भाई आपको थोड़ा आइडिया है भाई. एक एक प्लेयर हमने चुनना है बस. आप देखिए यहाँ पर बांग्लादेश लास्ट डे तक ऑलमोस्ट दे हैड अ चांस टू गेट टू द सेमीज. So Taskin I think deserves it. He has been the better player of Bangladesh. Not that their opener wasn't. I think Shanto Das also had a decent tournament. लेकिन you have what Nokia against South Africa के पास चांस था. That's why they are there.
Actually, Chanto is
Zimbabwe
not a
का
bad shout for a opening position.
नहीं, बट
actually मैं impact
48
बोल रहा हूँ मैं.
बॉल्स में 48 बॉल्स में 54 आप अगर मारो T20 क्रिकेट में, तो दैट इज नॉट द ओपनिंग आप इंपैक्ट चाहोगे.
यहाँ पर डिसएग्रीमेंट हो रही
Actually, then
है.
Liton Das is not bad. Huh?
एक मैच है बट
तीक्ष
उनका
शर्मा
सिर्फ एक परफॉर्मेंस आई है लिटन दास की पूरा इस टूर्नामेंट में.
That's another issue.
हाँ
Tiksha na.
anyway मिचेल सैंटनर हैज टू बी देयर. फिंगर स्पिनर नीडेड. भाई तीन
बट फिर
स्पिनर्स
आप
खिलाओगे क्या?
सिकंदर राजा को हटाओगे जिनकी बैटिंग इज बीन सो गुड.
No. Sikandar Raza is a shoe in, bro. Sorry, Manav. Much love to you. You know that. Liton Das, हाँ, वही लिटन दास शैंटो को दोनों नहीं डाल सकते. तो we have actually pushed Taskin rather. Hasranga the highest, yeah, but वही है, not in Super 12. So we are looking at impact to the tournament getting to the latter stages, ना. शायद मैं आपका देखा था भाई ये हफ्ता आप you're not talking about the best 11 here. So I've started. I'll come in later यार. Always शायद I request you to put on topic once. Off topic हम हमेशा लेते हैं यार बाद में as much as time permits.
Actually, we can
Okay.
go in with Mohammad Wasim Jr. also. He's also had a very good tournament.
Oh yes, his
Yeah,
bowling
good
has been
shout.
good. भाई अगेन मैं यहाँ पे एक बार हाईलाइट करो भाई सब लोग लास्ट वाला ऑप्शन बोल दो बस. आई थिंक
वो
निशांक का मैंने
definitely-
रखा है
मेरे को
एक
लगता है
श्रीलंकन.
लिटिल और अर्शदीप में से होना चाहिए. लिटिल है अर्शदीप.
भाई
मेरे को
लेकिन
जितना
आयरलैंड
लगता
ने
है.
क्या उखाड़ा है यार
नहीं,
honestly.
बट उसने परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी करी है. अगर अच्छा टीम ने कुछ नहीं करा बट हर मैच में से विकेट्स लिए, हैट्रिक
Like,
ली है.
नहीं मेरा पॉइंट श्रेय यहाँ पर है दैट आई वुड रादर हैव अ डच प्लेयर देन अ आयरिश. यू नो व्हाट आई मीन.
हाँ, वो मैं एग्री करता हूँ. वो मैं आपसे समझता हूँ. फ्रेड क्लासन के साथ जाऊंगा अगर मैं डच के देखूंगा.
अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग. चलो नो दैट्स अ गुड वन. नेमा जूनियर का छोटा भाई वसीम जूनियर. बट फेयर इनफ. तो आई थिंक यहाँ पर काइंड ऑफ टाई हो गया लास्ट में. हेजलवुड
Hazelwood. No.
he's got hit
Not
in a couple of
impactful
overs.
enough.
I know that he's got hit.
Yeah,
मतलब
not
kind of
impactful enough.
Starks
पिछले
didn't
over
play
में
one game. Correct if I'm not wrong.
लास्ट
हाँ
गेम में ड्रॉप
last
रेस्ट किया गया था. लास्ट गेम में जो अफगानिस्तान के खिलाफ थी.
तो थोड़ा सा it goes against him as well.
he's not
Again
had the best
I'm
of
just
tournaments also.
कौन सा टीम के साथ नाइंसाफी हुई है ये बता दीजिए पैनल और चैट.
नेदरलैंड्स.
एग्जैक्टली.
एक तो होना चाहिए. वन हैज टू बी देयर.
मतलब नेदरलैंड ने जो बवाल किया है लास्ट में जाकर एक तो बनना ही चाहिए. आई नो दे वर नॉट देयर इन द
I
सेमीफाइनल्स
think Fred
फाइट.
Klaasen should be the bowler. He's done well. He's
सब
done
लोग
well enough.
अग्रीज. फ्रेड
The
क्लासन.
way in which he started off, even in the group stage, he was very good. He was swinging the ball up front. So a bowler who can ball up front with the new ball.
चलो यार, आ गया भाई, हम अपना 11 हो गया। यस हर्षदीप भाई, सॉरी उतना ही बोल सकता हूँ। और क्या बोलूंगा हर्षदीप के लिए। एंड ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर अदर, मार्क वुड भी, आई थिंक दोज ब्रिलियंट। भाई मार्क वुड 155 है, तो भाई नोकिया 150 के आसपास है, डोंट वरी। दोनों ही अराउंड कर रहे थे यार, तो काफी अच्छा किए। ले लो फिर एक्सप्रेस स्पेस। तो पूरा वैरायटी हो जाएगा। चलो, नाइस नाइस स्टफ पीपल, बट अगेन ग्रेट टू हैव एबल। आई थिंक यू आर गेटिंग लेट, राइट? एज इन,
Yeah, I'll be leaving now. It was great having you all and talking
no
to you
problem,
all.
no problem.
So see you all
So we'll
tomorrow
be
if
continuing,
possible.
but Abel, before you go, as in quick last prediction. Any changes, or you're definitely going with
No, this
your
this
head?
looks like a team. Only I'm not Nisanka is still the only concern, but other than that, it all looks good. It's been a bad but if I had the choice, I would have gone with Alex Hales. He looks
Yeah,
much assured in terms of his gameplay.
I think we
Otherwise,
have
it
been
was a
unfair
solid
to
team.
England. To be very honest, you just put one England player there,
Yeah.
but honestly, they have not really, like I said about Hardik Pandya. Now, Hardik Pandya, we expect more. England say I expected more. They've not reached to that levels. That's why maybe
Mhm.
I would
Yeah,
say
it's
that.
okay. And it's a very good team. I think Finn Allen is the X factor opening choice. And I really hope, just to give an early prediction, tomorrow could be his possible day. The template he followed against Australia, he can possibly take on a Shaheen Afridi as well. So, and Shaheen Afridi
Yeah.
is not the quickest, like how he was a year ago. And if he doesn't get any
Yeah, he's
swing,
not. I think Mohammad Wasim Jr. is probably a better option anyway right now, as in the Pakistan
Mhm.
setup. I believe so. But again, thanks for coming on, Abel. Always great. Of course, we'll be talking a lot. Hopefully, let's see. As in, we'll be in the finals, and before that as well, we'll have a chat for sure. So, Abel, big up to you. Bhai, sab log follow kariye Abel ko. His Insta link is there in the description below. Give him a follow as well, and we will be talking to Shrey for a few more minutes. Okay?
Thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good time. Bye bye.
बाय बाय। ओके, तो श्रेय, यहाँ पर मैं कुछ क्वेश्चन स्टार किया था। लेट मी जस्ट फिनिश द स्ट्रीम विद दोस क्वेश्चंस। एंड बाय द वे, यहाँ एक क्वेश्चन आया है अबाउट नीशम। भाई नीशम खेलेगा, क्यों नहीं खेलेगा? आई डोंट थिंक, सेम चीज मैंने एबल से भी पूछा था। आई थिंक देयर इज नो नीड टू मेक अ चेंज, इज देयर, इन न्यूजीलैंड?
नहीं, और उनके पास रिप्लेसमेंट भी इतना अच्छा कोई अवेलेबल है नहीं कि नीशम को दे विल थ्रो अवे। न्यूजीलैंड ना ऐसी टीम लगती नहीं अंकित भाई कि इमीडिएटली एंड पे आके कोई चेंज करके अपना कॉम्बिनेशन बिगाड़ेगी, तो आई थिंक दे विल
हाँ
ट्रस्ट
हाँ
नीशम।
भाई, न्यूजीलैंड हैव they are much better planners and implementers than India, as much as I would like the other way around, but वो reality है everyone, absolutely. But coming to Shrey, I think couple of things जो मैंने पूछा था, यहाँ पर एक क्वेश्चन आया था। वी आर सिंह, दिनेश कार्तिक, ऋषभ पंत। भाई अगेन डिटेल में हम इंडिया और इंग्लैंड की बात हम कल करना चाहेंगे, पुदिन और आई थिंक कपल ऑफ अदर्स वर आस्किंग, बट लार्जर स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स में यार, वेयर आर यू सेइंग, लाइक दिस टूर्नामेंट हेडिंग, मतलब एक होता है ना कि यार एक लग रहा है दिस टीम इज गेटिंग थिंग्स टुगेदर एट द राइट टाइम। सो कौन सा वो टीम लग रहा है आपको?
आई थिंक इंग्लैंड ही लग रहा है, यू आर गेटिंग थिंग्स टुगेदर, क्योंकि जब वो आयरलैंड का मैच आ रही है और ऑस्ट्रेलिया का मैच पोस्टपोन हो गया, आई थिंक आई वाज सो हैप्पी। मैंने कहा इंग्लैंड निकल जाए इस टूर्नामेंट से, एंड आई थिंक इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर इंडिया उसके बाद, बट नहीं, आई थिंक इंग्लैंड केम बैक। न्यूजीलैंड को हराना एंड जिस वे में दे बीट देम वाज अ बिग बिग अचीवमेंट, लाइक 20 रन एंड लक भी था। अगर जॉस बटलर का कैच ले लिया होता डैरेन मिचेल ने, तो शायद वहाँ 180 स्कोर बनता ना, न्यूजीलैंड जीत जाती। एंड अंकित भाई यही है, अगर मैं दिमाग से जाऊं तो मुझे लगता है इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सपेक्ट कि हम हरा पाएंगे। एक अपसेट लगेगा इंग्लैंड को हराना, क्योंकि दे आर वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग जो उनका कॉम्बिनेशन है। एंड पाकिस्तान का, आई एम सॉरी अगर मुझे लगता है, लेकिन क्रिकेट में कुछ भी पॉसिबल है, बट एट द मोमेंट आई थिंक न्यूजीलैंड इज अ बेटर साइड, बैलेंस में, कॉन्फिडेंस में, द
हाँ,
वे दे आर कमिंग।
मतलब चांस ऑलवेज इज देयर। मतलब अगेन हमने भी सेम चीज बोला कि हम चाहेंगे इंडिया पाकिस्तान फाइनल, ऑब्वियसली, मतलब लेकिन रियलिटी ये है, इफ यू सी ऑन पेपर न्यूजीलैंड इंग्लैंड बेटर लग रही है। मतलब आप बोल नहीं सकते कि यार इट्स लाइक फार बेटर दैट इंडिया पाकिस्तान आर डूइंग राइट नाउ। यू कैन से दैट इंडिया फिर भी यार लग रही है कि यार वी आर हैविंग अ लॉट ऑफ मैच विनर्स, बट आई थिंक न्यूजीलैंड इंग्लैंड अगर सब लोग अच्छा खेले तो ऑन पेपर इन T20 क्रिकेट आज के दिन में, मुझे लगता है इन ऑस्ट्रेलियन कंडीशंस पर्टिकुलरली, और स्पेशली यहाँ पर जो फर्स्ट सेमीफाइनलिस्ट इंडी में है, तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव सेड। लाइक हाँ, आजाद टेलीकॉम, अगेन वी हैव स्पोकन अबाउट मोहम्मद नवाज। आई थिंक यू हैव जॉइंड लेट। हम शुरू में बहुत बात कर चुके हैं मोहम्मद नवाज के बारे में, यही हमने बताया था क्विकली अगेन, दैट हम सरप्राइज थे कि पिछले मैच में उनको प्रमोट किया गया। he was already on low on confidence. Yes, they tried their best to kind of up it, लेकिन अब backfire हो गया वो चीज, with him not actually performing. तो somewhere down the line I still believe कि वो रहेंगे in the 11. I don't think पाकिस्तान भी ज्यादा चेंजेस करने वाली है कुछ भी, लेकिन the reality is that I don't think मोहम्मद नवाज, even शादाब खान to some extent, मुझे लगता है पाकिस्तान play them one position above that what they really should be the team. वो अलग लॉन्गर स्कीम ऑफ थिंग में आपका प्रॉब्लम है पाकिस्तान का, दैट you don't have that kind of level of player who can consistently do that. Mohammad Harris is a beautiful kind of an addition that they've had. मैं बोलना चाहूंगा मोहम्मद हैरिस फॉर मी द इम्पैक्ट दैट इज हैड आर्गुबली आप बोल सकते हो वो जो इनिंग्स थी ना साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ मिश्रे I think arguably you can say that was the innings of the tournament also. That's how important it was for Pakistan, that particular innings. नहीं ओके यहाँ पर इंग्लैंड न्यूजीलैंड फाइनल सेट बोल रहे ताहा खान वही है, वह बहुत सारे सब प्लॉट्स हो रहे हैं यार. इट माइट बी इंग्लैंड न्यूजीलैंड अगेन 2019 का रिपीट इन T20 इस बार. इट माइट बी 2011 का इंडिया का या तो पाकिस्तान का 92 का. मतलब काफी सारे स्टोरीज बन रहे हैं. लेकिन आई डोंट नो, आर यू सुपरस्टिशियस बाय द वे?
आई थिंक आई एम, बट मेरा तो यही है कि अंकित भाई यही लग रहा है इसमें कि आई एम सुपरस्टिशियस एंड मैं यही चाहूंगा कि कुछ भी हो जाए आई हैव टू डू समथिंग, इंडिया जीत जाए. पर वही है कि I will love a final of India and New Zealand. I will rather have New Zealand than Pakistan, क्योंकि
You
हम
will?
जगह
Okay.
पाकिस्तान, क्योंकि मुझे अंग भाई एक डर लगता है कि ना कि जब वो बड़ा मैच आता है पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ, कहीं ना फाइनल से फोकस थोड़ा ऊपर चले जाता है. वो चीज मैं नहीं चाहता टीम पे आए. न्यूजीलैंड सैडली पता नहीं क्या हो जाता है उनको फाइनल्स में. दैट इज ऑल्सो बिग थिंग, क्योंकि आई विल हैव अ बिग सिंपैथी फॉर न्यूजीलैंड. अगर न्यूजीलैंड पहुंच गया आई विल चीयर न्यूजीलैंड, क्योंकि इतने सारे फाइनल हारना विल बी हार्ट ब्रेकिंग
नहीं
अंकित भाई. लाइक
मुझे वही डर है यार दैट इतने सारे फाइनल हारना और स्पेशली वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट में रिसेंटली 2 फाइनल्स बैक टू बैक हारना ऑलमोस्ट. इनफैक्ट 3 मुझे याद आ रहे हैं ना, T20 वाला
एक,
लास्ट
हाँ
ईयर
2015 का हारे थे फाइनल, ओडीआई
2015
वर्ल्ड कप में.
एग्जैक्टली. ऑफ कोर्स 2019 का तो सबको मालूम ही है. तो आई थिंक दीज आर 3. सो फॉर मी थर्ड टाइम लकी ने फोर्थ टाइम लकी मैं बोलूंगा न्यूजीलैंड माइट बी हैपनिंग. और पाकिस्तान ऑन द अदर हैंड आई फील दैट for me, again, no disrespect, they have already kind of overdone what they were expecting at a stage of the tournament. तो yes, story बोल सकते हैं like 92 World Cup and all that, I can understand that. लेकिन वहां पर जो लीडर्स थे in the team, I don't see that leaders being in the Pakistan right now. और सिमिलर आप you can argue the same thing about India as well. लेकिन इंडिया में फिर भी experience, there's far more experience, so that's what I would still go with that. But again, great to have Shrey. I know Shrey late join कर पाया, लेकिन thanks Shrey for joining. I will be adding Shrey's channel link as well in the description below, people. Shrey FC आप जानते हो by now. You can see in the name as well on the screen. Park 90 is looking to be the bigger fairy tale to be repeated. माना मुझे याद है आपका comment बिल्कुल. या बट यार हम जीतेंगे यार. आई नो चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी याद आता है हम लोग को. नेवर फॉरगेट दैट. एंड आई हैव टोल्ड द स्टोरी यार. मैं अपने दोस्तों को बुलाकर बड़ा एक रखा था घर पे दैट चलो आ जाओ वही पाकिस्तान को ढोदा लेंगे, और उल्टा हुआ था. तो
अगर उसमें मेरे को उसमें भी यही था, पाकिस्तान इतना गंदा खेली थी ग्रुप स्टेज में, और फिर पता नहीं क्या हुआ, जैसे ही सेमीफाइनल पहुंचे इंग्लैंड को हरा दिया और इंडिया को हरा दिया. इसलिए आई विल रादर हैव न्यूजीलैंड पहुंच जाए.
Wow, interesting. But again, people, भाई thanks a lot. Again, do not forget to like the stream. और मैं वापस से बोल रहा हूँ for people watching, भाई hopefully कल towards evening, I don't know, भाई people, it's a weekday, so I'm not sure if I'll be doing the watch along, but pretty sure हम कुछ तो content निकालेंगे. तो tomorrow is going to be a crazy sporting day. We have what late रात को चेल्सी का गेम है, तो we'll try and do that. I believe वो टीवी पर है. श्रेय, can you confirm me that? Do you know?
आई थिंक मैं उसका शो नहीं हुआ. आई थिंक चेक करना पड़ेगा, टीवी पे है नहीं. आई
तो
बिलीव
स्पोर्ट्स
हैव टू
18 में
चेक
कोई
दैट.
बोला था अदर स्ट्रीम में दैट इज जस्ट ऑन ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी. आई थिंक दे सेड दैट स्पोर्ट्स 18 में शायद है, तो दैट इज देयर लेट नाइट. तो दैट तो मोस्टली रहेगा अगर लाइव आता है टीवी पर. हम आएंगे ऑन ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी. बिफोर दैट दो ऑब्वियसली न्यूजीलैंड पाकिस्तान है, और उसके बाद में इंडिया इंग्लैंड का बिल्डअप भी हम करेंगे मोस्टली. ठीक है, उसके लिए यहाँ जुड़ना एब्सोल्युटली. लेकिन आई थिंक उसके बीचों में आई थिंक विल ट्राई एंड रिलीज अ वीडियो ऑन ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी, वेरी स्पेशल वीडियो, and that's regarding the World Cup. So do not forget that as well. Okay, कल कौन कैप्टन अच्छा रहेगा? ओके, फैंटेसी का बोल रहे हो भाई. कैप्टन में वो मैं पूछा था एबल को, यही क्वेश्चन पूछा था दैट हु डू यू सी एज अ स्टार परफॉर्मर इन द सेमीफाइनल. श्रेय को पूछता हूं यार, हु इज योर स्टार परफॉर्मर इन योर ओपिनियन?
आई थिंक अगर मेरे को जाना, आई विल रादर गो एक सेफ प्ले में भी शतब खान के साथ, क्योंकि बड़ा ग्राउंड है. आई थिंक विकेट लेने की चांस है. और मुझे लगता है भाई कि न्यूजीलैंड विकेट्स लेगी एट द स्टार्ट. रिजवान फॉर्म में नहीं है. आई थिंक आपके पास इफ्तिकार, शान मसूद, पेस बॉलिंग, लोकी फर्गुसन मिडल में. शदाब ने अच्छी साउथ अफ्रीका अटैक के सामने 52 रन मारे थे कुछ 20 बॉलों में. तो आई थिंक मैं तो शदाब के साथ जाऊंगा, क्योंकि सेफ रहते हो आप. अगर बैटिंग में नहीं चला, ही विल गिव यू सम विकेट्स. तो उस मामले में आई थिंक शदाब विल बी द बेटर ऑप्शन.
No, it's a fair enough. Absolutely, I think Shadab is the form bowler as well for Pakistan, and of course, as हमने बात किया already, I think compared to Nawaz, I think this time they might promote Shadab. I feel that एक gut feel आ रही है. तो I think Shadab is a brilliant call. So I hope that helps you. But again, थैंक्स अ लॉट एवरीवन, थैंक्स अ लॉट श्रेय. हम मिलेंगे कल, मल्टीपल स्ट्रीम्स और वीडियोस आने वाले हैं. विल बी वर्किंग ऑन इट एब्सोल्युटली. अगेन नॉट फॉरगेट लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब. श्रेय एफसी, ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी एंड ऑलमाइटी स्पोर्ट्स प्लस. सी यू. ऑल द बेस्ट टू न्यूजीलैंड पाकिस्तान. See you hopefully in the mid innings show or the review tomorrow. Bye.